One day, I suddenly felt an unbearable pain, as if someone had reached into my chest and crushed my heart. I knelt on the ground, clutching my chest tightly, trying to make the pain go away. Just as I thought I was about to break, Ocean appeared. His touch brought me a bit of comfort, but his eyes were filled with pain and guilt. He told me that he felt my pain because he knew I was his mate. But why did this pain make me more entangled? 14.5 hurt Naya's key. OV read Mount 1990. Ocean and I had developed her routine over the years. Whenever HED show up at night, HED stay until morning, regardless of whether we were intimate or not. HED wrap his arms around me, and I'd drift off to sleep, feeling safe and content. Sometimes, we'd spend the entire night talking about everything and nothing. Our conversations a mix of sarcasm and genuine connection. Our relationship wasn't solely based on physical attraction. We were more like best friends with a complicated twist. Our interactions peppered with my constant mocking, which Ocean had grown accustomed to over time. It was both fascinating and terrifying how much we had in common. Despite being such different individuals, this similarity made it increasingly difficult to let go of each other. However, on his birthday, for the first time ever, I woke up alone. His scent lingered on the silk sheets, a cruel reminder of his absence. The cold comforter replaced his warm touch, and the emotions I had felt through him the night before had vanished into thin air. I slowly opened my eyes, hoping to hear him puttering around in the kitchen, but even with my heightened powers, I cowed and detect a sound. That's when the realization hit me. When he had apologized, he was sorry that I lost his mate. My heart clenched, and my body ached with both physical and emotional pain from the night before. I felt like a helpless human child, weak and pathetic. It was that his feelings for me had disappeared, but his wolf wouldn't want to be with anyone who lost his mate. It made perfect sense that I woke up alone. His wolf probably cowed and handled being in close proximity to another she-wolf without feeling disgusted. 3 months. That's all I had to wait until my birthday when I'd be able to recognize my mate. Anyone in this pack or outside could potentially be my mate, but the thought of waiting that long, watching Ocean with someone else, was unbearable. Desperate for comfort, I grabbed our home phone and called Lee, apologizing for the early hour before asking her to come over at 6 in the morning. With Ocean gone, she was all I had left. I remained curled up and sobbing until I had no tears left and my heart felt numb. Naya, I heard Lee calling from downstairs, but I lacked the energy to respond. I waited for her to come upstairs. Honey, her sentence got short when she saw the state I was in. Oh God, I'm so sorry, she exclaimed, settling near me on the bed. I'm fucked, I chuckled hysterically, my sarcasm seeping through even in my vulnerable state. Oh honey, I'm here okay, she smiled, leaning down to hug me. I think I need to get away for a while, I announced, getting up. I hissed in discomfort. What wrong? And why? She asked with a worried expression. My whole body is aching and I just need to clear my mind, I explained vaguely as I tried to move, clicking my bones back to place. I remember once I nearly gouged out the skin on off his back. Our sexual attraction scared me sometimes. We could go for hours and still not have enough of each other. Gosh, this room smells like something. And someone. She crunched up her nose. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that someone, I demand sternly while trying to get up until I realized I was without clothes under the covers. Can you? Like, oh God. Oh or DRM. Just get in the bathroom, she suggested, getting all embarrassed. It'll be in the kitchen. After taking a long hot shower, I felt calm and collected again, allowing the soreness to fade away. Putting on a dark blue tank top, black shorts with an extra long check shirt, I headed downstairs to Lee. She sat on the kitchen counter filling herself up with some Cookie Crisp cereal. She poured some cold milk into the bowl followed by some cereal. After we're done, we'll go wherever you want to. Her sincerity startled me and her kindness was truly overwhelmingly. I meant, I just wanted to go for a long run. Alone. I sat down playing with a bowl of cookie crisps. "You're not." She trailed off looking at me, horrified. "No," I shirked. "God, no. I'm not running away. He'll find my mate okay. Don't worry. I just need a break." I paused, sighing and turning to look at her. "You know, I thought I'd be very heartbroken, which I am, but I still feel a lot calmer now. Like, the fact I finally know I'm not his mate." My heart sank at the thought of it, but I still carried on. It felt like I had my feet stuck at a separate boats and I didn't know which way to go, but now I do. And I can move on with my life and not look back. I explained. "Exactly, and when you find your mate, you'll forget about the heartbreak and everything will be okay." She paused for a while, then sighed. "I just wish you would have waited, for your mate." I know I should have waited, but I'd Aunt No Lee. What's done is done. I'm not going to sit here and cry because I know my mate is out there. I gave her a fake smile which earned me an eye roll from her. She knew me all too well. "We'll only be gone for today while you all celebrate your future Alpha's birthday. We've never spent a birthday away from each other, even though some of them involved either him or me getting smothered with cake at the end. I don't want you to go on your own, but I understand you need the time to yourself. So I'll let you go, but if he asks, I'll show him the direction." She half threatened, making me frown. Only because I know he'd turn the whole pack upside down if I didn't. Don't worry. I doubt he'll even care," I reassure her, trying to ignore the stab to my heart. She didn't stick around very long due to school, and she left. I stripped off my clothes and tied the long shirt to my ankle, allowing my long hair to cover my chest. Hiding my shorts and tank top behind a large tree, I changed into my fur skin. Turning into a wolf after such a long time felt relaxing. My bones cracked itself back to place smoothly. Turning for the first time was painful, but I got used to it over time. It became our second nature. As soon as my paws hit the ground, I took off in full speed, dodging every tree that came in my way. In the distance, I heard birds' wings flapping against the wind, their chirps getting quieter and quieter. My paws thudded against ground, almost like a galloping horse. My wolf was somewhat bigger than most she-wolves my age, due to the fact I always trained non-stop over the holidays and weekends. I didn't want anyone to question my ability to protect the pack or myself from hunters. I never wanted to be one of those she-wolves who always relied on their mates. Cooked and clean like a good girl. I wanted to fight and show people that we were just as capable as boys in our pack. In fact, female wolves were much quicker than males due to our slender form, and we could easily take them down in a combat if we played our cards right. My thoughts got distracted by another group of birds scurrying away at the sound of my thundering paws. Ocean was one of the first in our generation to turn when he was 13. He was taken down to the underground dungeons to be restrained with titanium chains while he shifted into a wolf. News traveled fast, but that's not how I knew he was shifting for the first time. I knew it because I felt everything he felt, from every cracking of his bones to his skin ripping apart to adjust into his new form. I knew that I was supposed to feel that, but I did. I didn't even know how or why I felt it. I wanted to ask our parents or one of the elders, but I knew I would reach a dead end because they'd just brush it off, saying I was just being silly. I remember how he kept boasting before he shifted, that when he transformed he would be able to take the pain and not lose control. But the howls of pain that screeched across the silent pack that night said otherwise. I thought he would torment me regarding the transformation, and it made me avoid him on purpose when he tried to approach me. However, in all honesty, I kept avoiding him because I was confused about being able to feel his pain. Lee held me in her arms that night while I cried, and her wise words told me to confront him about it. But I knew he wouldn't have believed it, so decided to stay away from him. The first few weeks were hard because he kept approaching me with a genuine smile on his face, but my brain was too confused to talk to him. So I'd always leave or purposely hurt him with my words urging him to leave. Soon he got the message and left me alone, which left me disappointed because never once I saw him smile again, and soon after he got into his alpha training. Decreasing our encounters. When my 13th birthday rolled around, I was somewhat excited and scared about what would happen. Most of all, I was curious if he'd feel my pain. Usually on my birthdays, HED pull the most annoying prank. However, the week prior to my birthday, his face was nowhere to be seen. Although everything was set for that evening, I didn't make it to my own birthday party. The transformation started already and I was in immense pain. After hours of agonizing torture, I was taken home and left there to rest for the next couple of days to heal. That was the first time ever Ocean climbed through my window. It soon became a daily routine for him. I was stunned and relieved at the same time to hear that he felt my pain too. When I told him why I avoided him, he was furious and upset, but he quickly composed himself because of how exhausted I was. He didn't say anything after. Settling down, he massaged my legs, arms and shoulders until I fell asleep, to be awakened to the view of him sleeping on my love seat at the corner of the room. That was the day when things between us changed. We kept our relationship the same in front of everyone, but we changed when we were alone together. At first it was awkward, then nice, but soon it became tempting. I didn't know how long I had been running for, but when a flood of overwhelming emotion crashed into my heart, I abruptly stopped in tracks. Mentally, I cursed my wolf for having light gray fur, which made it harder for me to hide away from any threat. The emotions were overpowering. My legs buckled under pressure and I tried to block it out. My mind went on a frenzy survival mode and I started running back towards our pack. Despite the bronze glowing sun peeping through the new-grown leaves, I feared my atmosphere, certain that I was alone. I quickly shifted into my human body and covered myself with a large T-shirt I had tied to my ankle, and that's when it hit me. Suddenly my whole inside exploded with intense pain, and it physically felt like someone reached into my heart and squeezed it until it turned into the size of a golf ball. I let my bare knees roughly hit the dry soil mixed with twigs and branches. Hands sprawled across my chest over my heart, trying to claw it out to make the pain stop. 15 stop May's P. OV Red Mount 1919 make it stop. I whispered to no one. I couldn't comprehend how a sudden burst of anxiety replaced my prior feeling of despair and sadness. Due to the pain, my heightened senses became too dim for me to realize that someone was rustling behind the fern bushes. Usually, I was able to recognize them by their scent, or at least hear them approaching from miles away. However, I felt paralyzed by those intense feelings and I thought I was going to die. The pain was overbearing. It took me a moment to realize that someone was slowly emerging from the bushes. I sniffed the sweet warm air surrounding me, but instead ended up choking. Abruptly, the strong hands engulfed me in a familiar hug. His touch created electric impulses and I knew exactly who it was. Meg. It stopped. I choked out, scratching at his bare chest. "I'm so sorry, baby girl," he replied in a hoarse yet concerned voice. Soon after, the pain started to fade away, and as my senses started return, I could finally think carefully. His unique musky scent invaded my nostrils and I inhaled deeply, taking him all in. His scent was my drug. His touch was my remedy. I didn't know how I'd live without him. "Are you okay now?" Ocean breathed out. "I think so." He helped me stand up. "What was that?" I asked, looking up to meet his pained expression. My heart broke again at the sight of his gentle orbs glistening in the sun. "I'm so sorry, baby girl," I repeated. "It's fine." I smiled in bewilderment. "I'm sure you had nothing to do with it." "Ocean." As soon as his name left my mouth, he shut his eyes and gulped loudly, trembling under my hold. He was trying to control himself from bursting out into his wolf. Quickly stepping forward, I rested my hands on the sides of his neck. "Ocean, it's okay. Calm down." I kept repeating myself and massaged his shoulders. It always calmed him down. "I can't control it," he whispered under his breath. "Ocean." I moved backwards slightly, trying to free myself from his firm grip. "Why did you do that?" He unwillingly tore his eyes away from my bare neck. The T-shirt had dipped to one side and slid down my upper arm. I covered my neck. "What did I do?" "You ran away from me." He took a large step, engulfing the distance I created between us. "Why did you do that?" His quivering voice vibrated through my bones. His gentle touch burnt holes in my skin when he grabbed my arm and closer to him. "Why did you do that to me?" I could physically hear the strain in his voice when he rested his forehead against mine. No, 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 baby, look at me. I wiped away my fallen air before taking his face in my hands. It was your fault, okay? The sunshine around us started to fade away, hiding behind the clouds and trees. His eyes shimmered with sadness, and I had to close my eyes to build the courage to say what was going to break my heart. I thought you found your mate. I have. My eyes immediately popped open at his vague confession. A smile formed on his face, shattering my heart into millions of pieces. Wait, why did you just feel that? He asked, frowning immediately. At first I didn't understand his question, but when I realized he felt my heart break, a sudden burst of hope erupted from the bottom of my pit. You felt that? I asked in astonishment. Yeah, of course I can. It's even stronger now. A beautiful smile stretched across his young face. You mean, you're my Naya? Why do you think I kept saying that last night? His face dimmed at the thought of last night. I'm so sorry I shouldn't have done that to you yesterday. He lowered his head in guilt. No, you didn't do anything. Ocean, you know, if I didn't want that, your balls would be flying out the window without your body. Laughter erupted through the hollow forest. See, this is us. Ocean pointed out after we sobered up. We are meant to be. Then why did you leave me? I asked, strapping my arms around his bare torso, resting my chin on his chest. Because I was ashamed of myself. I thought maybe one last time, but when I finally turned, I just cowled and get enough of you. It felt like I found my way back home. I don't know why, I can't explain it. Everything became twice as needy. He tried to explain, but I already knew what he meant. Ocean was never an organist speaker. You know I can't explain things properly. Yeah, I know. You're lucky that you're stuck with me then. I chuckled. He shook his head from side to side. I choose you every time in every life. He lowered his delicious lips down upon mine. So do you really know the way back? I asked Ocean after walking for at least an hour. Of course I do. He repeated with certainty, charging through the bushes. You know it will be easier in wolf form. I suggested, stepping over a large fallen tree. Maybe if you shut up, it would be easy. He mocked underneath his breath. What did you say? I stopped in my tracks, placing my hands on my hips. Nothing. He immediately turned around with his hands by his side in a surrender position. Nothing. At all, babe. Don't you dare babe me. I mocked him back. You know you're lost, so stop taking me in the wrong direction. Gosh, what a great alpha you'll make. I know what I'm doing, and he pointed his finger at me as a warning. You, young lady, don't question my abilities. Yeah, what are you going to do about it? I challenged. He paused to look behind before walking towards me. I'll throw you over my shoulder. By the time he was done threatening, his large frame was towering over me. I swear if you try to manhandle me, I will nipple cripple you. I crossed my arms across my chest, making his gaze drift towards my boobs. Oh, come on. I flailed my arms by my side and brushed past him. I'm finding the way myself. It's not my fault you're practically half without clothes. And my wolf just imprinted on yours. All I want to do it. I could hear the frustration in his voice coming from behind me. I tried to find the right track, leaving him alone to complain by himself. Besides, if I let my wolf take over, he'll definitely mark you. I stopped dead in my tracks, causing him to bump into my back and retrieve with his hands up by his side. Touch me with your dirty paws and see what I do to you. I warned, pointing my finger at him. Slowly, I turned back and followed the faint trail I picked up. It also dosed some help with you being on fire. He growled under his breath. Well, hell, cry me a river then. I mocked without turning around. It'll make it rain, baby. Hell, I did it last night. I stopped in my tracks again and closed my eyes, trying to hide the blush starting to form on my cheeks. A loud clap snapped my eyes open to realize Ocean just high-fived D himself. Apparently HS 18. I can't believe I slept you. I murmured under my breath, picking up my pace. With him, still following me. Well, believe it, baby. 'Cause I'm the best you ever had. Each time from behind. You're the only one I ever had. I emphasized on only while jumping over a dead log. And the only one you will. It was impossible to miss the sincerity in his voice. I didn't know what to say to the smiling goofball behind me, especially when he started whistling. The nature around us seemed like they were smiling along, and the leaves were laughing when they brushed against each other. That's what his presence made me feel like. However, there was still an unanswered question at the back of my mind that kept bugging me. Stopping in my tracks, I turned around to face Ocean, whose eyes were shamelessly glued to my behind. Ocean. I snapped my fingers in front of his face to gain his attention. Yeah, this boy had no shame in staring at the wrong places. Can I ask you something? My voice became serious and controlled, breaking him out of his goofy trance. What? He asked, stepping closer to me, taking me hand in his and rubbing small circles on the back of it. Well, I struggled to form the right words. Are you sure I'm your mate? Because what if I turn 18 and recognize someone else? He immediately grabbed my hips painfully and pulled my body flushed against his body. You are. Mind. What part of that don't you understand? His aura immediately became dangerous and possessive. Ocean. I kept squirming under his hold to set myself free. Feel this. Not even a second later, a wave of unknown emotions attacked my heart, making my knees wobble under pressure. Everything became overpowering for me to bear, and I couldn't physically stand straight. Stop. I begged him, touching forward, digging my nails into his muscular arms. See, only a mate can do that. He chimed. Stop it. Blood oozed out from his skin. Feel it, Naya, and believe it, and say that you are mine. He shook me by my shoulders. Say you're mine. Anger and hurt replaced all the other emotions, and there was only one way for me to fight it. Block everything out. I squeezed my eyes shut, fighting against the fear and pain, and slowly blocked every emotion out. Although it wasn't easy, considering he was my mate, but I tried my hardest to push him out of my mind. Slowly, everything started to fade away, leaving me peacefully with only my emotions. Let go of me. I screamed in his face, breaking out of his grasp, and started to walk away from him. You can't overpower me, Ocean. I'm stronger than you give me credit for. Naya, come back here right now, he ordered, making me walk faster. Naya, you're going in the wrong direction, he warned before his voice began to fade, and soon after I heard the sharp whizzing noise splitting through the spring air. Before I could comprehend what was happening, I found myself pinned against a large tree trunk with his elongated sharp fangs, ripping through his gums, and sank itself into the flesh at the base of my neck. Instantly an ear-piercing scream erupted through the forest, evacuating any fellow resident habiting nearby. My vision, hearing and any other senses started to impair. Gold and glimmering sun rays that seeped through the ceiling of leaves started to darken slowly as the loud buzzing noise replaced the sweet sound of birds chirping in the distance. I hissed when his teeth sunk in deeper, producing one last pang of sharp pain to ignite from that area, making my whole body become paralyzed. That's when I lost my mind and soul to oblivion. 15.5 Revelation NASP. OV Red Mount 1990. Pain. When I woke. I left like. A heavy truck was sitting on my left shoulder, without having the decency to move. My throat felt dry, and my eyelids felt like they were glued together. I think Shess waking up. I heard my mother's overly dramatic, concerned voice. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Don't you go anywhere near her, kid. You'll forget your Philip's son. I heard my dad's voice boomed through the room. Maybe you should all just shut up. My mind scolded them as the bongo players in my brain heightening the noises around me. I could even hear water dripping from a tap, probably from my bathroom, at even intervals. Slowly scrunching my eyebrows up, I tried to crack my eyes open, but failed the first time. I warned you, Ocean. Go anywhere near her, Michael. Look at him. Shess his mate. Only HED be able to comfort her. My oh so dear mother interrupted my annoyingly overprotective father. His heart rate rocketed sky high, and I could almost see his crimson blood rushing through his veins. Let me help her, Lee suggested, calming him down. Not even a couple of seconds later, I felt her hands on my right shoulder trying to help me sit up. Gulping loudly, I managed to crack one of eyes open, to get a rough image of where I was. My long lashes clung to each other, pixelating the view of my parents standing at the edge of my bed, with concerned expression glued to faces. But Ocean, I internally sighed at the sight of his defeated body, standing on the far corner of my room. This looked like the lost boy I saw the other day in school, but only 1,000 times worse and broken. "Can you get up?" Lee asked, stroking my upper arm. Water. I somehow managed to choke out. My throat felt like it was dry as the Sahara deserted. "Honey, how are you feeling?" After a few gulps, Mother quickly walked forward, replacing Lee's seat on my bed, and blocked the view of Ocean. Her gray eyes reflected my own, but her hair was much shorter than mine, yet the same color. "I'm okay." I sat up slowly. Luckily, the pain and the overly height and hearing started to fade somehow. "My head hurts," I added, rubbing my tired eyes with my unwounded arm. "Honey, you were out for 2 whole days. Michael, get some food, will you? Naya must be hungry." She half turned her body to order my father around. "Oh, now you care when I nearly died." Ice coughed Naya. "That's not true. We care about you a lot. With all due respect, Savannah, I think Naya needs to eat something and rest for a while." Lee chimed in, interrupting her annoying voice. I was grateful for her before. Ocean looked like a defeated boy who had lost everything in his life, with no hope of living anymore. His eyes were deadened and skin appeared pale. My mother sighed heavily, accepting defeat. "Fine. I'll go get something for you to eat." She smiled before leaving the room. "What happened?" I asked my father, rubbing my sore neck. He scoffed and shot Ocean a disapproving look before speaking. "He marked you." "Yeah, I know. I was there, but what happened after?" Lee tried to hide her smile. This is exactly what I mean, young lady." The sarcastic tone in Michael. "That's enough, buddy. She needs rest, and we can talk about it later." Philip and Joyce entered my room together. Ocean looked exactly like his father apart the cute little button nose he inherited from his mother. Ocean and his father shared the same tan skin with tall, muscular build, whereas Joyce was much smaller with long, medium-length black hair and curvy tones. "You'll be okay, but you might be a bit weak for a while because your wolf side hadn't matured yet to recognize your mate. Usually we aren't allowed to mark a young wolf, but it happened and there's nothing we can do about it now." Joyce tenderly brushed my hair back from my face, so I breathed out, relieved that it wasn't anything serious. Ocean fisted his hands and clenched jaws. His furrowed brows could have scared anyone, but all I wanted to do was run over to him and comfort him even after what he did to me. For me to forgive him because I only got a snip of those height and emotions that he felt. Living with it all the time and learning to control it must have been difficult, and on top of that I made it worse. "What do you mean?" "Oh," my father asked. "Honey, I would like to apologize on my son's behalf. I don't understand why he didn't wait." Philip half smiled at me. Alphys hardly apologized, but the fact that he did meant it was definitely a serious situation. "I think I know why," I suggested. "What do you mean?" my father asked. "Well, okay." I looked at Ocean for his approval, then turned towards his mother. "You know, before you were mated to Alpha, were you able to feel his emotions? Even before you were mates, were you able to feel him transform into a wolf for the first time?" I received gasps from her and my mother, who walked in at the wrong time with the right amount of food on a tray. "You mean?" All 4 of them studied me and then Ocean very carefully, before my mother decided to break the silence. "That's impossible," she huffed. "Why do you think I was able to walk the next day when he turned?" I reminded her, making her eyes to widen. "Honey, that's not possible." The horror on their faces reminded why I didn't ask anyone about this in the first place. I was there with her. I didn't believe it at first, but when I saw it, it was unreal. Lee's sensible voice cut through the tension-filled room. "When did it start?" Philip spoke up after a while. Honestly, I always felt something there that wasn't mine. But when he turned, my body felt like it was going to break. That's when I realized it was him or his feelings. I confessed. What about you, Ocean? His posture remained the same as before. He was bothered showing vulnerability when the situation was about me. My heart swelled up with love and happiness which he must have felt. I think we should go now and let them rest or something before Ocean passes out. Lee advised everyone, and after some sympathetic hugs and wishes they were all gone, trying to comprehend what I just explained. I could still hear them talk about how it was impossible for me to feel his emotions before our wolves matured, averting my eyes towards my guy. I held my hand out, gesturing for him to come to me. No. He shook his head in self-loathing. I might hurt you again. He shifted from foot to foot. My heart ached at the sight of beautiful, defeated face. His stubble were much longer than it used to be. His eyes were bloodshot red, and his simple black shirt and ripped shorts looked unchanged. He looked like a madman. I guess I turned him crazy. I loved him to the point of madness, and madness he became. Ocean, come here, I ordered with a puppy dog face. You won't hurt me. Slowly and steadily he settled himself down on his knees beside my bed, looking up at me like I was his everything. Turning slowly, I grabbed his face and kissed him passionately until my lungs gave out. His touch soothed majority of the pain I felt around my body, leaving me with a peaceful mind. Sorry, Naya. He apologized with a quivering voice. I know you are Ocean. I rested my forehead against his. You know I've already forgiven you, right? Well, you shouldn't. He broke out of my grasp. Why do you always make me feel like I don't deserve you? He rubbed his face with both of his hands in frustration. God, you. He put one of his hands on his hips and with the other one. He rubbed his chin. I don't deserve you, Naya. Course you do. Ocean, you've been there for me since we were kids. I reminded him. But I always fuck up and leave you fix all the pieces. If I can't look after myself, then how am I going to look after you? Because it'll look after both of us, Ocean. We've always been like this. Why are you acting all crazy now? I flailed my arms around, forgetting how much pain the left side of my body was in. See, I hurt you. Mates aren't supposed to hurt their beloved. He pointed at my shoulder. You're going to be weak and sick because of me. And that's why I love you. For the first time, I finally confessed to him that I loved him. However, he went on without realizing what I just said. Yeah, exactly why you shouldn't low. His features softened immediately when his mind processed my words. You what? He asked almost in a whisper. I love you. I always have, Ocean. You know that. And I understand why you did it. If I was in your position, I would have done the same thing. I mean, I only felt a fraction of those emotions, but they are pretty wild. By the time I was finished with my speech, he was sitting on the bed facing me with my hands in his. Why are you like this? You should be mad at me for hurting you. He sighed in defeat. Because you didn't hurt me. And we're not like that. We understand each other better than ourselves, and you've never done that to me before, and I know if you knew about it, you would have let me walk away. I explained. Yeah, that's true. His eyes softened even more. I still think you deserve someone better. No, I don't. I deserve you, and you know we're perfect for each other. I interrupted him before he could put himself down even more. I'm not perfect for you. I interrupted again. Yes, you are, and I make you laugh and you annoy me. We're perfect. I can't believe you just said that. He chuckled after a while, massaging his neck with one of his hands. I say a lot of things you can't believe. I winked at him, which he rolled his eyes to. Comfortable silence broke through the room as we studied each other's features. His pumped lips still held a faint smile. I couldn't imagine what he must have gone through while I was out. People bothering him, blaming him, accusing him for hurting me. It also probably didn't help him feeling the pain I was in but not being able to do anything about it. You feeling okay, baby girl? He asked, kissing my hand softly. No, I scrunched my nose up. I feel licky and my leg feel all stubbly. And am hungry too. Thanks to my werewolf genes. He chuckled at my weird and open confession. How about I run you a bath? I need a shower myself and... You're on bed, dressed for a month. Well, see. I was already used to seeing the caring side of Ocean, but there was an extra tenderness to his touch when he held me in his arms as he carried me to the bathroom. He slowly and carefully peeled all my clothes off while he running me a warm bath before placing me in there himself. He stripped down to his boxers, and from the outside he washed every inch of my skin gently without any lust distracting him. I watched carefully as he took care of me like I always took care of him. A sense of pride flickered across my heart, and before I knew it, he was done and placed a small peck on my lips before getting himself in the shower behind me. He seemed different. Seemed scared of making any sudden move or saying something to annoy me. As much as I liked this gentle side of him, I really missed the obnoxious side of Ocean. After dinner, we both found ourselves tangled in each other's limbs under the purple blanket of calmness. Both of our energies were drained, especially him considering he hadn't slept for today. Naya, his lips grazed against my skin when he talked. Yeah, love me. He wanted reassurance. With all my heart. I replied, feeling him smile against my neck. Love me. I asked him, knowing his answer already. With all I am. 16 first Naya as P. OV Redmount 1990. Yo, Ocean. You forgot about us since you got your girl. Dylan eased the boy who had his arms securely banded around my waist from behind. Yasso. Ocean challenged him, pulling me even closer to his body. Leave them alone. Lee tried to shoo Dylan away, but the boys weren't leaving him alone. Word spreads quickly in a small community, but it even spread quicker in school. Luckily, we were on a day trip. Ocean. His parents and my parents would rather have me on bed for a month, but I was tired of being home. So when out history class decided to go on a field trip, I begging until they finally gave in, allowing me to go. Only under strict supervision of Ocean, Dace and Lee. They were not allowed to lose sight of me throughout the whole trip in case I fainted or I was in immense pain. Usually we had incredible healing powers, but his mark or a mate's mark was supposed to heal at all. It was supposed to leave their imprint on our shoulder. However, the pain was supposed to fade away after a couple of days. Unlike mine, although the pain had decreased from before, it was fully gone yet, but Ocean's kisses on the mark every now and then was an instant pain relief. It would be different for Ocean when I mark him, because his wolf had matured and he wouldn't have to go through this. That thought kind of made me want to dislike him. But it was amazing how he took care of me every second like his life depended on it. He wouldn't let me go anywhere by myself or do anything by myself. He even started cutting school just to take care of me. I remembered our first kiss when we were 12. Although we were very young and mainly had no idea what we were doing. It still was the most incredible feeling I ever felt in my 12 years of existence. Why so quiet, baby girl? Ocean's gravel voice broke the trance I put myself in. Nothing. Just thinking. I smiled, embarrassed by my thoughts. You were smiling. He rested his head on my uninjured shoulder. Was I? I pretended like butterflies weren't fluttering in my stomach. Tell me, he demanded, tightening his arms around me. Well, I was thinking about the first time you kissed me. I confess, knowing there was no way out. He chuckled and stayed silent for a while. I'm sorry for that, Naya. You should get that phrase tattooed on your forehead. It would save you a lot of energy from repeating it like a broken tape recorder. I scolded. I honestly didn't like how he always put himself down when it came to me. I mean it. I always seem to fuck up things when it comes to you, but anyone else, I don't really give a fuck. I mean, have I ever apologized to anyone? He buried his head in the crook of my neck. It was true. I've never heard him apologize to anyone. You know, you never really told me the reason behind that. I wondered. I was angry. You kept talking about how one day you were going to find your mate, and I got annoyed. His warm breath kept fanning over my neck. You mean to say you were jealous? I teased, turning my head with a huge grin plastered on my face now. He stretched out his O in embarrassment. Annoyed, not jealous. Really? So you wouldn't mind if I went over there? I pointed towards the human group of boys who were shamelessly flirting other human girls under a tree while we all waited for our coaches to come. No, I won't. He denied, but his body language spoke the truth. His arms painfully tightened around me and his posture visibly became rigid. Fine. I tried to set myself free, but he clearly never had any intention of letting me go. You can let go now. Oh, you asked if I would mind. And I said no. But you never told me to let go. That smug son of wolf. You cheeky bastard. I gave up, sinking back into his warmth. He chuckled huskily. Mine was all he had to say. But honestly, what made you kiss me? Though you hated me. I asked, getting back on topic. No, I never hated you. You hated me first. With one smooth motion, he turned me around in his arms. I never hated you. I honestly never could hate you. Even when you pushed me against the wall and kissed me, then you slapped me. He reminded me, making me look away from him in embarrassment. Because I was scared and annoyed. I buried my face in his chest, trying to hide the lingering smile on my lips. Was I that bad? He asked, brining his lips near my ears. No, opposite. I confessed. I thought my first kiss was going to be from my mate, and you stole it, but I was more annoyed with the fact that I liked it so damn much. His hands kept massaging my back. Well, that's good. The slap was worth the kiss, though. Sighing, I tiled my head back up, settling my eyes on his lips, knowing exactly what I craved. Ocean gently settled his hungry lips down on my desperate ones. Flashback. Abruptly, a strong arm encircled around my waist from behind, lifting me off the ground, while another hand covered my mouth, preventing my muffled screams to reach anyone's ears. Kicking empty air in front of me, I tried to fight him off by digging my elongated nails into his arms. Unfortunately, he was stronger than me and determined to get his point across. Using his advanced power, he exited the vacant corridor, taking me with him to his room. Then he gently threw me against the wall and trapped me with his body, with his arms caging my head. Before I knew it, Oceans crashed his dominant lips down upon mine. Disgust and anger sizzled through my blood, making me claw my nails into his tight flesh as I kicked and screamed silently to get the monster off my face. Without any warning, he caught my flailing arms and pinned them over my head and fiercely pushed his body against mine, stopping me from moving. We remained in the same position for at least half a minute, when my heart started shimmering with an unknown calm yet anxious feeling which I knew was mine. He pulled away slowly with a satisfied smirk on his face, and before I knew it, his lips invaded mine with so much hunger that it frightened me at first. He was just stealing my first kiss. He was stealing my soul. Without any delay, I granted him entrance. He growled at the back of his throat in approval. I honestly didn't know what on earth I was doing or what I was supposed to do, so I let him take control. At first, he teased my tongue with his nervous ones with uncertainty, but when I teased him back, it quickly turned into a battle of dominance which we both weren't ready to lose. However, both of our lungs gave out at the same time, forcing him to peel his lips off mine. He rested his forehead on mine while panting heavily, with our heaving chest rising and falling against each other. He quickly pecked my lower lip before releasing my hands. My firm palm collided with his face with a loud thwack. You bastard! I screeched in his face, pushing him away with full force. Him caught off guard, making him stumble back with his arms out by his side, trying to balance himself. I stared at him in outrage. He brought his hand up to cover his cheek that had my hand print on it. End of flashback. If you two horned dogs are done eating each other's faces off, can we please get going? Isaiah's voiced, or our lips apart. I clung to his arm, allowing him guide us towards the buses. Get the back seats. One of Ocean's friends ordered, someone who was first to get in. You know you can go with your friends. I don't mind. I told him, interlacing one of my hands with his. No way. He shook his head side to side in amusement. There's no way I'm leaving you. His grip tightened around mine. I'll be with Lee. It's okay now. I mean, you can go with her if you want, but I'll still be one step behind you, so I don't really mind. He looked down at me with so much sincerity in his eyes. I almost melted under his gaze. Never mind then. I chuckled, resting my head against his biceps while we waited in the line. 5 Castle Naya's P. OV Red Mount 1990. Whoa. Look at the castle. Someone from the front of the bus shouted. pointing to the castle-typical early-century palace with stones for walls and tall watchtowers surrounding the four corners. Ivy covered the grey walls and a huge arch iron door was situated right in the middle of the castle. For some odd reason, the fort and old castle looked vaguely familiar to me. Snippets of images flashed before my eyes like a déjà vu. Is it just me or have we been here before? My heart had jolted for a semi-second at Ocean's question. You feel that too? I asked, turning my head away from the window to look at his surprised face. Yeah. His sentence was cut short when our history teacher stood up at the front and started going over the rules. The bus stopped right in front of the castle, and as I stepped out, my heart sped up like I was running a marathon. I felt Ocean's arms wrap around my waist when his conflicted emotions washed over mine. Kids, our history teacher, Miss Delano, guided us towards the large door. I know a lot of you are thinking why we are here, so let me tell you. The main reason for us is to learn about the history of the famous Iskin massacre occurred in early centuries. Now, does anyone know who were the king and the queen of that time? She directed her question to us. No one knows who they were. There are no records of them after the whole town was slaughtered in one night. Everyone who knew them or saw them killed, leaving no trace of who the royalties were. A girl among the students spoke up, just as she was about to carry on the large iron doors with ivy weeds across it creaked opened. Welcome, kids. I am Elena. I'll be your guide today. A petite woman stood in the middle of the threshold, with a huge loving smile on her face. Her short brown hair merely reached her shoulders, framing her heart-shaped face perfectly. With light gray eyes. Come along, children. We have a lot of ground to cover. She paused in the middle of turning. And if you see or hear anything, don't follow it. Her eyes turned cold, yet the smile remained on her lips. Geez, can this get any freak IER? As I asked as we all entered the castle simultaneously. I have a bad feeling about this. Lee walked forward, linking her arm through mine, and I let go of Ocean's hands. Wow. Lee stared in awe. The golden light of the candles from inside highlighted the dark furniture that was arranged in an orderly manner. Cobwebs hung loose like vines from the candle holders, banisters and walls along the long corridor. I cowled and helped shake out the feeling that had seen the foreign place before. Turning my head, I caught Ocean studying the area like a hawk in bewilderment. There was a long and high pedestal right in the middle of the two staircases. The corroded thrones were situated right next to each other. The large room with high ceiling echoed of the murmurs of all the students. This was known as the Judgment Hall. People from far away would come here in hope of justice for a crime committed against. Elena recited as she walked up the small staircase of the pedestal with a group of students. Why was there a massacre? Someone asked. Yeah. What happened? Other questions were thrown at her. Legend has it that one day the king made a judgment and executed nearly 12 people for their crimes. Apparently, they tortured and murdered over 1 people, but one of those 12 survived, and he cursed the whole kingdom for taking away the only love he ever had. Some also say that the souls of those haunt these very walls. Some looked around in fear and some in distrust, but everyone huddled closer together. Now I told you everything I know about the massacre. However, some of the researchers has also concluded the king and the queen were supernatural. Some presumed they were vampires. Some thought they were witches. She looked at our group when she emphasized her last word. We made our way down the overstretched hallway, lined with long, freshly lit wooden torches, shedding some light to the darkness. We weren't allowed to go into the room because of the said curse. Some of the people didn't believe in it but went on with it. Elena mentioned how the royal family were so generous that they allowed their workers to bring their family to live with them in these very well-kept rooms. They were all slaughtered as well. According to the brochure, we were still in the East Wing where all the servants and workers lived. All I wanted to skip the entire introduction and get to West Wing where the king and queen lived. That wouldn't have mattered anyway because Elena told us that after the massacre no one has ever found a way to their chambers. The windows were there on the outside, but anyone who tried to find the room always ended up somewhere else or hit a pure brick wall. Even breaking in through the windows or walls seemed impossible as it was made of materials that nothing could break through. A fuzzy image in sepia flashed before my eyes when entered another large hall. It felt like I'd seen the colored paintings of knights and soldiers before. Medallions, swords, and spears were mounted up on the walls. Ocean stepped forward, assessing the paintings. Suddenly, a 7-foot tall black shadow swished past one of the corridors downstairs, dousing of the specks of yellow flickering lights. My heart rate accelerated. The hairs at the back of my neck stood up. Goosebumps covered my body at the sight of the floating figure. Naya, it's wrong, babe. Before I knew it, Ocean's arms wrapped themselves around my waist, blocking the view of the corridor. My hands immediately fisted the material of his shirt on instinct. I don't know. I think I saw something. I told him honestly. Maybe she's tired. Look at her, Mark. Getting pretty red as well. Jace suggested, coming up from behind. Sometimes he was so quiet that you didn't even notice when he was there. I didn't know what to say, but I also didn't need to defend myself because Ocean would never deflect my words without taking precautions. He only nodded at Jace before shielding me from everyone and lowered his lips down to my aching shoulder. He kissed and licked every inch of my mark before the pain subsided. We made our way down another set of stairs that led to corridors situated at the far side of the room. Only plain yellow light streamed through the empty spaces without any silhouette zooming across it. Elena's voice echoed through the hall, explaining about the North Wing. Warriors, knights and their family, and resided in these exact walls. What did you see? Ocean lowered his head so I could whisper in his ears. It was like a shadow just went inside that corridor. I nodded my head towards it. It was just there 1 second, and next second it was gone. You believe me, right? Fear. Fear aroused from within my bones when I tiled my head back, look at Ocean, but something else caught my eyes, leaving me speechless. Shadow Naya's key. OV Red Mount 1990. The tall shadow now migrated upstairs, whizzing into the corridor where we just came from. Ocean's head snapped back, making his eyes pop out of his sockets. He finally caught the glimpse of transparent silhouette gliding through air. What the fuck? He breathed out. Stay here, we'll be right back. Before I knew it, his warmth left me empty and he shot up the stairs, taking 2 at a time. I left something. You'll be right back, he announced before jumping into the world of wilderness. My heart felt like it was going to explode. I followed him as fast as I could. Ocean, I called out helplessly, wearing my heart on my sleeve. Naya, he called out. Relief washed over me when his voice reached my ears. I followed the similar yet scarier corridor when my feet stopped in tracks. There was a new formed corridor on the right side where Ocean stood in the middle of it, looking more confused than ever. This corridor was here before. He didn't have to tell me twice for me know. I distinctly remember one of the girls opening a door near here, but I don't remember seeing any corridors. Nah, you shouldn't have come. He scolded, striding towards me. What on earth are you doing? This is how people die in movies. You're not supposed to chase things. You're supposed to run away. I retorted back with my heart pounding at the bottom of my throat. When I reached him, instead of scolding me, he buried his face in the crook of my neck, inhaling my scent. You need to listen to me sometimes. He chuckled into my hair before lifting his face up to meet my eyes. However, it only lasted for a semi-second. His eyes landed on something behind me. His expression spoke volumes, and I knew something was severely wrong. Unwillingly, I turned my head around to find a black wall blocking the corridor that I entered from. Gulping loudly, I started at the plain brick wall that appeared from nowhere, preventing us from retracing our steps back out of there. Suddenly, blazing fire ignited from each torch, by itself on both sides of the corridor. A loud, high-pitched scream tore through the walls surrounding us. It was haunting. Never-ending scream that made my skin prickle with fear. What the hell is that? Ocean frantically searched around, snapping his head from side to side. It never encountered anything like this before. My emotions were already heightened, and with his matured wolf, we were both in so shape to make appropriate decisions in terms of danger. Naya, we need to run. Ocean broke me out of my trail of thoughts when he realized the torches from the end of the corridor started to fade. A mighty draft of wind appeared from nowhere, creating a mini storm in a closed space. Let's go, He didn't give me any time to compose myself before pulling me along with him. I could clearly hear the air behind, bouncing off the walls, whizzing around the burning fire until it consumed the yellow flames with a poof. Even in height and speed, the hall seemed never-ending, and I couldn't have been happier when we both reached a corner. We were turned and ran from the darkness. "It's catching up," I screamed, making the mistake of turning back. Abruptly, my grip on his hand loosened when the darkness finally caught up, with me sucking me into a whirlpool of vacuum. My body collided with another figure, and I knew it was Ocean. A shriek of fear escaped my mouth in the darkness, with him calling out my name. 17 screams. Naya's P. Olvi Redmount 1990 Naya. I heard Ocean scream. The whole world around me sunk into a black hole. I could still feel the thing that crashed into me still thrashing around. It took me a while to register the person flailing around and hitting me was Lee. Her heartbeat rocketed sky high and fear was evident in her squeals. "Leave me, Naya." I tried to get a hold of her arms in the solitude of darkness. "Lee, stop," I ordered. I swear if you're Eno, her threat felt empty, so I decided to interrupt her. "You once had a wet dream about Jace." The future beta was handsome in when Lee shyly told me about it a couple of months back. I laughed at the top of my lungs. Who the hell feared wet dreams? "Naya, what the hell is going on?" I heard I's overly squeaky voice from my left. Suddenly a hand rested on my arm, making me flinch away with a loud shriek. "Naya, it's me, baby girl." Oceans reassured me, although my eyes were open. Everything around me appeared pitch black without any levels or outlines. Dude, how can you see?" I's voice came from behind Ocean. "Perks of maturing. It activates your night vision," he boasted, carefully guiding Maya in his arms. "I thought only bats had night vision." I heard Isaiah murmur under his breath. "Okay, Lee, move a little to your right. Jace is right there." He guided Lee. "Jace, bro, I love you and all, but you need to speak up every now and then." Isaiah scolded. "Also, Lee, you had a wet dream about him." "Not the right time, bro," Ocean warned. "What do we do now?" I asked, widening my eyes, trying to catch a glimpse of any type of visible structure. I guess we all had to depend on Ocean to guide us. "Ocean, what can you see?" Lee voiced my question. "Nothing but 3 long corridors. One on the left where we just came from. There's one straight in front of us which you 3 just came from, and there's one on our right which none of has been to." I felt him move around. "We should head that way." "No, why?" Everyone started to speak at the same time, including me. "Because we both came from 2 directions, and logically there should only be 2 corridors. Why is there another one?" Ocean explained, making me smile in the dark. He usually acted like a little child, but he was secretly very intelligent. Maybe not in an academic way, but when it came to real-life situations, he always took the lead. He was a natural-born leader, and it wouldn't have mattered if he had alpha bloodline or not. He'd still be a natural leader. "You led." Lee reached out and touched my arm. I took hand in mine and held Ocean's hand with the other one before we all started to move. We all kept a steady pace, with one behind another. My height and hearing picked up their heavy breathing and nervous shuffles of their feet. Every now and then Ocean would squeeze my hand tighter in reassurance. Although my heart was racing, my mind was calm and collected. He was trying to keep himself calm because if his emotions became haywire, it'd instantly freak out. We needed to get out of here as soon as possible, and after that, we could all freak out as much as we wanted to. "It just keeps going." Ocean sounded skeptical while. "Just keep going," Jace demanded from the back. "Wait, how did you all end up here?" I asked after realizing how we all were scared of each other. When you both left. Everyone said to carry on because they thought you 2 were probably getting in a quickie." Isaiah chuckled, and Lee soon took over, finding the opportunity. "So I asked Jace to come with me. There was this corridor under the mini Hall of Fame place. We thought instead of taking the stairs we'd quickly go that way, and Isaiah had no other friends left. Hey, so he followed us. We turned the corner and everything behind us started to darken, and we heard the most obnoxious and horrific snickering scream. So we started running. And after a while I'll end it on you. She finally took a breath. I do have friends. He protested again. Okay, was all she had to say to make him retaliate. What are you trying to say? Clear annoyance laced in his voice, WHA. Before Lee could finish, the awful high-pitched scream broke through the walls again. Every single hair on my body stood up in alarm. That blood-closed voice choked the air around us, scratching. It stoned against the wall like a cat dragging its claws on a chalkboard. Fuck, Ocean breathed out, taking me in his arms. We all shuffled closer together as the voice grew louder. I grabbed onto Ocean's t-shirt, like I always did when I was nervous or scared, leaving a fistful of crease marks on them. Suddenly, a ghastly flock of wind swirled by us, making my hair swivel around a couple of times, quickly bringing them to the side. I held them down in front of me. Ocean's hands on my waist tightened. His heartbeat sped up, racing faster than us. We need to get out of here, I shouted, glad that my voice didn't get swallowed by the whirlwind. How? I can't see anything properly anymore. Ocean shoved his head in the crook of my neck. I need to get you out of here. His voice broke when he slowly mumbled that in my ears. That's why I loved him with all my soul. Abruptly, a very calm feeling washed over me, causing me to ignore the racket that surrounded us. Without caring about where I was, I turned in his arms to grab his face and kissed him hard. I didn't know what came over, but as soon as he confessed about getting only me to safety, a fire from within ignited that I couldn't suppresses. It was lust. I knew what lust felt like with him, but Kiss was unfathomably different. The way he would put my life above his or anyone else's without thinking twice stabbed my heart. I needed to show him he was as important to me as I was for him. His lips merely moved against mine, sending chills down my spine. Time physically stopped around us. Every pore of my body emitted invisible electrical impulses, awakening every tiny hair on my body. Something sizzled along the surface of my skin. Whoa. My eyes flew open, nearly blinding me in the process. I had to blink a couple of times to adjust to the warm, flickering lights from the wooden porch. Do you two make out anywhere? Isaiah shook his head. I think the reason why everything stopped is because they were making out, Lee concluded, quickly jumping away. I looked around, digesting my surrounding. The two corridors we came from were now replaced by a pitch black wall, leaving us with only way to follow. This is creepier than I thought, Isaiah confessed, and we all internally agreed with him. So all of this is about you too? He asked, a question which we both were scared to admit. I'm not sure. And if it is, I want to know why. Ocean answered truthfully, looking around the closed space. Although I'm a supernatural creature, I'm still kind of scared about all of this paranormal stuff going on. Lee confessed, getting closer to Jace. I don't understand this. What's going on? Ocean asked, getting a hold of my arm and dragging me closer to his body. Jace exhaled loudly, shoving his hands in his jeans pocket. I think it's something to do with the spirits roaming the castle. I mean, there's no other logical explanation.